The day that should have been the happiest of Ethan Wallace's life was instead the day he walked away. 25 years later, the past returned, this time knocking loudly, and it demanded to be let in. Ethan's knuckles turned pale as he clutched the cold armrests of the hospital waiting room chair. The sterile smell of antiseptic mixed with 6-hour-old coffee burned his nostrils. At 28, Ethan stood on the verge of a promising career in finance, on track for a fast promotion at one of Boston's top firms. But now, his wife, Adriana, was in labor 2 months early, with twins that he had tried to prepare himself. But nothing could prepare him for this. Visions crowded his mind. Tiny, fragile newborns wrapped in wires and tubes, a delayed career, derailed plans. He had told himself it wouldn't matter, that family came first. But now that it was happening, all his fears crashed down on him at once. "Mr. Wallace?" A nurse's voice sliced through his panic that he stood quickly, almost stumbling. "Your wife is stable. The cesarean was successful. Would you like to see your children?" Ethan followed silently. The corridor seemed endless. He couldn't remember if he'd thanked the nurse. He only remembered the silence, the deafening, suffocating silence before they reached the neonatal unit. "She's still under anesthesia," the nurse explained. "But she'll wake soon. The babies are in the incubator. Small but strong for preemies." Then Ethan saw them point. 2 tiny infants lay nestled together under warm lights. They were beautiful. They were healthy. They were clearly not his. Their skin was a deep, even brown. Neither Ethan nor Adriana had that complexion. Adriana had Spanish and Italian roots, yes, but her olive skin was nowhere near this tone. Ethan, blonde and fair, had never imagined anything like this. His mouth went dry. His knees weakened. "There must be a mistake," he stammered. "These are the children of Adriana Wallace," the nurse said. "A boy and a girl." Panic rose in his throat. It wasn't just a personal betrayal, it was social suicide. In 1996, in their community, this would be a scandal. Infidelity was one thing, but a child fathered by someone else? A black man? He turned and walked out of the neonatal unit, out of the hospital, out of that life. In the parking lot, his hand trembled as he tried to unlock the BMW. His thoughts were a hurricane. What would he say to his colleagues? His parents? What explanation could he possibly give? He wouldn't give one. He would divorce her. Immediately. Let her face the questions. Let her explain why her husband had disappeared after the birth. He would start over. And that's what he did. 25 years later, Ethan stood in his sleek corner office overlooking downtown Boston. Wallace Capital had grown into a respected investment firm. He had rebuilt his life. Success, recognition, wealth, he had them all. He had even remarried 10 years after walking out on Adriana. Elaine, his second wife, came from the same social circle. They were well matched. Even if their marriage had become more companionship than passion, he had never spoken of Adriana again, never searched for her, never mentioned the twins. His story was simple, a youthful marriage that ended amicably and early. No children, no baggage, until today, his CFO, Leonard, stood in front of his desk with a grim expression. The Covington deal collapsed. Without their backing, we're short this quarter. Ethan cursed under his breath. The downturn had hit them harder than expected. They had bet on a series of aggressive tech startups. The losses were mounting. "We've got one shot left," Leonard said. "The Milestone Group pulled out, but I got a call from the Morgan twins. They're in town. They want to meet with you." Morgan twins. Ethan frowned. They run Morgan & Ray, New York-based venture firm. Took Wall Street by storm 5 years ago. Young, private, lethal smart. Brother and sister. They're looking to expand into Boston. "Set it up," Ethan said. 2 days later, Ethan sat in his boardroom reviewing notes. At 63, his silver hair and tailored suits lent him an air of dignity. On paper, he was every inch the titan of finance. When the door opened, he rose to greet his guests. Then he froze. The man and woman who entered were tall, commanding, and undeniably polished. The woman wore her hair in elegant twists, a burgundy pantsuit hugging her frame. The man had a sharp fade and tailored charcoal gray suit. Their presence was magnetic, but it was their eyes, hazel and piercing, that took Ethan's breath away. The same eyes that looked back at him every morning in the mirror. "Mr. Wallace," the woman said. "I'm Camille Morgan. This is my brother, Julian." Julian offered a firm handshake. "Appreciate you making time." Ethan tried to compose himself. "Please, have a seat. I've heard great things." Camille opened a slim leather folder. "We're interested in acquiring a controlling interest in Wallace Capital." Ethan swallowed hard. "May I ask why my firm?" Julian's smile was thin. "Let's just say it's personal." Ethan's mind raced. They couldn't be. Could they? Then Julian leaned forward. "Or would you prefer we call you Dad?" The air disappeared from the room. Ethan's jaw twitched, but he forced himself to respond. "How did you find me?" Camille's tone was icy. "That's your first question? Not how are you? Not what happened to your mother." Ethan looked away. I didn't know what to say." Julian's voice was sharp. "You walked out of that hospital like we were nothing. Like Mom was nothing." "I made a mistake," Ethan said. "A terrible one. You thought Mom cheated because we were black," Camille said flatly. He nodded, ashamed. "I didn't understand. I panicked. I didn't know her grandmother was black." "You did," Camille snapped. "She showed you pictures. You called her beautiful." A blurry memory returned. Adriana pointing to a woman in an old photo album. Warm smile, dark skin, Moroccan heritage that he had seen it. He had chosen not to remember. Julian opened a folder and slid it across the table. "Our offer is real. Competitive. But it comes with terms." Ethan looked down at the proposal. It was generous. "Too generous. What's the catch?" he asked. "We want the truth," Camille said. "We want you to answer our questions. And we want to see if you've changed." "I assume," Ethan said quietly, "you already know everything." Julian leaned back. "We've known for years. We waited until we were in a position where you'd have to listen." Ethan stared at them. "What happened to your mother?" "She worked 2 jobs," Camille said. "Never spoke ill of you. Told us you weren't ready to be a father." Ethan's chest ached. "She survived breast cancer 5 years ago," Julian added. "That's when we decided to find you." Ethan blinked. Is she well now?" "She's stable," Camille said. "But we didn't come just for you. We came because she needs a kidney transplant. Neither of us is a match." Silence. "You think I might be?" "She refused to ask," Julian said. "We convinced her to let us try." Ethan whispered, "I'll get tested." They watched him carefully. "If you are a match?" Camille asked. "I'll donate," he said. Camille stared at him. "We'll see." The test results arrived the next day. That he was not only a match, he was her best chance. That he told Elaine everything. She stared at him, stunned. "You left your first wife because the babies were black?" He nodded. "She left that night." That he didn't blame her. The night before the surgery, Vanessa entered the room. She had aged, yes, but beautifully, gracefully. Her presence calmed him. "You're really doing this," she said. "I am." She reached for his hand. "You don't have to." "Yes, I do." The next morning, as they were prepped for surgery, Camille and Julian stayed by their sides. As he drifted into sleep, Ethan heard Camille's voice. "We'll be here when you wake up." The surgery succeeded. Vanessa's body accepted the kidney. Ethan recovered slower, but steadily. They stayed in Baltimore together during rehab, forming routines, shared meals, long talks, stories of lost years. Julian told him about his love for photography. Camille confessed she had written poems about a father she'd never known. Bit by bit, walls crumbled. "I missed your whole childhood," Ethan said one evening. "But if you'll have me, I'd like to be here now." Julian looked at him. "It's not forgiveness," he said, "but it's a start." 6 weeks later, they returned home. Ethan returned to his office, no longer CEO, but still present. Now an advisor under the new leadership of Camille and Julian. They reshaped Wallace Capital into something new. Inclusive, compassionate, forward-thinking. The firm thrived. Ethan never remarried. But every Friday night, without fail, he had dinner with Camille, Julian, and Vanessa. He had missed 25 years. But now, he was making every moment count, not because he had to, because he chose to. And for the first time, that choice, love over fear, made him whole.